Hello, friends. Today I am going to tell you a story. The story is called The Gold-Feathered Bird. I hope you like it. Oh, father, said Hilda, next week we are to have a feast. A feast? Asked her father. What is the feast for, then? A school feast, father, with competitions for the children. The boys are to have sack races and a tug of war, and the girls potato races and skipping. The master told us all about it this morning. Little Hilda was very happy, and no wonder. She scarcely had any fun. Her mother was dead, and after school she had all the housework to do. Whilst other children played, she had to work. But she didn't mind that, for she was a great comfort to her father. After meals, she threw the breadcrumbs out into the garden, and this she did every day. The birds knew her very well, and as soon as they saw her and the white tablecloth appear in the scullery door, they all came flying down. What a pretty feather that was lying on the grass! Hilda picked it up. It looked just like gold. It shone so. Over her head, a bird was hovering. You understand? It did not fly. It only hovered, just as if it couldn't steer itself. The bird went and sat on a bough close to Hilda. Then she saw that all his feathers were beautiful. "Oh, maiden," said the bird, "will you give me back my feather? It fell out of my tail, and now I'm not able to fly properly." Hilda at once gave him his feather. "Please put it back into my tail," said the bird again. "Thank you so much," and flew away he did. Hilda gazed after him. Such a thing she could hardly believe. But she did not stand there for long, for she had still a lot of work to do that evening. Her Sunday frock was not fresh. It would need to be washed. She could not go to the festival in a dirty dress. Of course, it was a little faded. It had been washed so often, but that didn't matter. It must be tidy and clean, though. That was the first thing. Hilda quickly got ready a basin of soap and water and put her frock into it. Soon after, she hung it out to dry. "I'll let it hang out all night," thought Hilda. "Then when it is dry, I'll iron it in the morning." But whilst Hilda lay in her little bed, quietly sleeping, great trouble came to her. A very strong wind arose. It blew roughly against the dress and tore one of the pegs loose. At once the dress was lifted from the line and blown into the hedge of May. There it stuck fast. The wind blew harder and harder, but against it the poor dress could do nothing. And when Hilda went to look at it the next morning, she found it lying in a puddle with a great three-cornered tear near the neckband. Tears sprang into her eyes. Should she go and tell her father all about it? No, he had enough sorrow himself. She would not worry him at all. She quickly rinsed out her frock in clean water and hung it up in the attic. The next day was Wednesday. There was no school that afternoon, and Hilda had plenty of time to mend the tear in her frock. She sewed very well, and carefully she pushed the needle through the garment, making very small stitches. But when it was finished, it gave her still much anxiety, for anyone could plainly see the place where the tear had been. No, the dress was quite spoilt, and once more her tears began to flow. Just then a bird flew through the window. It was Goldfeather. "Well, child," said he, "have you had an accident with your Sunday frock? Let me look at it. You have really made the tear quite tidy, but I can sew much better." And whilst he was speaking, he smoothed over the mended patch with his beak. At once the marks disappeared, and there was no trace of the tear to be seen. "The dress is also a little faded," went on the bird, "but wait a moment, and I will put it right as well." And after a few more strokes with his beak, the dress appeared just as if it had come out of the shop. "I think a little ruche of feathers would not look bad at all. What do you think?" asked the bird. And he put his beak under his wing and pulled out a lot of feathers. "Sew them around the hem. I should like to see how well that will look." With quite small stitches, Hilda sewed the fine gold brown feathers firmly down, and always the bird let fresh ones fall into her lap. I cannot understand where he found so many. At last the dress was ready. Hilda had not only made a ruche round the hem, but round the neck and sleeves as well. Now it looked lovely. "Is it not pretty?" asked the bird. "Oh, splendid!" said Hilda. "Thank you ever so much." But the bird had flown out of the room. How Hilda's father stared when he saw the dress! And do you know what the schoolmaster said? "You are always so good to birds, that now they are doing what they can for you." And that is what I also think. I hope you like that story. If so, join me for one tomorrow. Bye bye.